Good morning, everyone. On today's show, we've got a good amount to talk about. First off, we have to discuss the future of a playthrough that I have now been doing for about 2 months. And sadly, I have to admit, at this point, doesn't seem to have much of an ongoing audience. The game I'm talking about is Blueprints. So we will discuss in full this game, what has happened with it, and how to handle it moving forward. I would love to get your live feedback. In addition, last night during the American Truck Simulator stream, we hit a support goal, and I had committed to everyone that if we had hit a certain amount of goals, that I would be buying a steering wheel and pedal peripheral for PC that we could use moving forward for that playthrough and other driving playthroughs. So today I'd like to start discussions on what ones I should consider, what looks good, and of course looking at things like pricing, etc., to find out what is viable. On top of all of that, if you're not aware, today there was a conference going on regarding tech, notably Unreal, the whole Unreal Engine. And we all know how many games in the modern era use Unreal Engine to generate their graphics. So they showed off a tech demo gameplay segment of supposedly the now in development Witcher 4. Everyone is abuzz about it. So perhaps today we'll take a look. The thing is, they released like 4 versions of it, as short as like 2 minutes and as long as like 16. I don't think I want to watch 16 minutes, but some of the claims being made about this footage are kind of wild and outlandish. So I want to look at it for myself and basically try to make a live judgment, all right? So we've got quite a lot of topics to discuss. Plus, today we've got Clair Obscur finally completing Act 2 and heading into the end game. Tonight, we've got fighting games for the only session that we'll have this week. So there's a lot to talk about. All of this, and of course, more, will be discussed on today's episode of the Level 1 Podcast. Curious what you feel about the shorter version of that intro. I don't think it really hits like the longer version, does it? It's all right, but it kind of skips the whole, the epic solo, part of it. It's still fine, because I know that people don't want the longer intro to the podcast every single day. I'll probably variate, just like I used to, but I'm curious on feedback there. So anyway, today is Tuesday, the 3rd of June, 2025. I'm DSP. I hope that you're all doing well. Welcome to the Level 1 Podcast. With me today is Jasper Kitty. He's right here next to me. Right, buddy? What are you up to? Why are you looking all around? He's looking all around the office. Oh, I know why. Because of my lights today. So today we have what's supposed to look like cloud cover and all of a sudden a lightning flash. That's what this is actually supposed to simulate. I thought it looked nice. It actually matched with my borders and everything. I was like, oh, we'll do a little different theme today. I've never used something like this before, but it's distracting Jasper. He's looking and he's like, oh, what's going on? And then all of a sudden it flashes and he gets alerted and then he stops. It's just the lighting, buddy. It's just the lighting, Jasper. How silly. How silly that he's actually like wondering what's going on. There's no storm in the room. That's why you don't hear anything. It's okay. He's like, look at all around, like all over the room. He doesn't know how to react to it. Oh my goodness. Anyway, how's everyone today? Good morning, everyone. How you doing? So, yeah, so the feedback I've gotten is that the intro's too long. Well, we did the short intro. That was the much shorter version. That cut off I think 15, 20 seconds of the intro from the longer version. There was no big solo. So, I don't know if you like the shorter or the longer one better. Like I said, I'll probably alternate between them. How is everyone today? Is Jasper Kitty afraid of thunder? He's not really afraid of thunder. He's afraid of rain. Like when it rains heavy, he doesn't like that. If it's too loud, he'll actually run and go under the bed. He does not like the sound of the heavy rain hitting the house and the windows. So Also, we have 2 skylights over on the other side of the house, one in the bathroom and then one in the kind of like storage nook that's off the master bedroom. So when he hears the water hitting that, he also gets upset. So yeah, not really. It's funny because people say, is he afraid of like fireworks? Not really. Not particularly. We don't get a lot of fireworks, but when they go off, he doesn't really react to them. It's really more the rain that gets him. So anyway, welcome to the show, everybody. We've got quite a lot to talk about today. We do. And some good, some bad. And it's sad that we do have to have some bad that we tackle, but I guess that's life. You take the good with the bad. This has been an interesting year for gaming, that's for sure. Started off incredibly slow and with a ton of disappointing games. And then all of a sudden, the last month or two, there was a lot of good games that we've been playing and juggling. And it's actually been quite challenging to maintain a steady schedule of balancing some of these longer games, these more drawn out game experiences with everything else that I'm doing. A lot of people have been like, well, if it's long, don't play it. If it's a lengthy game, it ain't worth it. If it's going to take you a month or 2 months to beat it, it doesn't fit with the style of stuff that you're doing. And I'm like, well, it sucks because that means then there's certain games that I can't play. We just talked about this with Clair Obscur last week, where we had a nearly dead stream of Clair Obscur where no one was engaging, no one was supporting. It was just a dead stream, and I was playing the game for myself, essentially. So we made the tough decision that I'm just going to play the story. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to try to finish Act 2 and get into Act 3. And apparently, from what people are saying, probably 2 to 3 more dungeons, and it's over. And the dungeons aren't that long. They're about an hour each. So, maybe another couple of major streams, we could actually wrap up the story of Clair Obscur. But there's apparently a ton of side content, like tons of side content in this game. And I love the game. I would love to do it, but I can't really do it if no one's going to show up. So, we have to see what happens with that, but we made a tough decision last week. Now, it seems like we're coming to exactly the same situation with Blueprints. Keep in mind that Blueprints is a game that I probably wasn't going to play to begin with. I didn't even know that it existed. I had no clue what the game was, when it was coming out. I think most people were of that impression because it didn't seem like it was going to be anything of note. And then it ends up being one of the most unique, lengthy, juicy, meaty, puzzling gameplay experiences in a very long time. Um, Arguably, Blueprints is the best puzzle game I've ever played. And I've been playing games since the 1980s. Not to say that I was ever a specialist in puzzle games, but this one is just so unique and it stands out from the pack, and it feels like absolutely nothing that I have played in my life. It's just really unique, and that's awesome, right? And so, in regards to this game, we have to figure this out today, what we're gonna do. And it's sad because I don't really want to say, oh, we're gonna drop it, but it's a strong possibility. I've had people screaming at me for the last 3 weeks to drop this game, and that's just sad. I don't know what else to say. There's not much I could really do about it. Um, if people don't engage with the game, and I think there is a crowd for it. It's just not a big crowd. And for a while, that crowd was showing up and engaging and supporting the playthrough, which is why I kept it in the rotation for so long. But a certain group of people can only support something for a certain amount of time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't expect that there's going to be a group of people who are going to be able to come by and engage and support with this playthrough every single time that I play it. And if the group is already small and they don't make it one time, now what? Right? And that's what it seems happened like yesterday. Like yesterday, there was maybe, no exaggeration, 5 to 10 people on my streams who cared about the game. That's not good. That's pretty bad for me. I'm supposed to be streaming for hundreds of people minimum on the internet, and I got like 5-10 people who care about the game I'm playing. So, yeah, it's concerning and it's disheartening. There was a time when, this is many years ago, of course, where I could play any game I wanted. It could be a puzzle game, a shoot 'em up, or an action-based FPS, a puzzle-based exploration game FPS like Deus Ex, a fighting game, a music game. Hell, I used to play everything. And no matter what I played, there'd be an audience for it. People would be very excited to see how DSP tackles this new genre that he's never played before. But that's just not apparent anymore. Now it's like people definitely want newer games as soon as they come out, but then it seems like after like a week, they just don't care about them anymore. Like, you got to be on to the next. It seems like a lot of content creators and streamers, that's been their attitudes. Play a game at launch, drop it like it's hot right after, and move on to the next thing. You've always got to be moving with the trends. There's very few content creators who are focusing on lengthy games anymore and actually doing full playthroughs because the interest falls off. And that's sad. I mean, it's obviously a symptom of our times. You know what I'm saying? Because back in the day, I feel like there were people who had great attention spans. When you tuned in for part one of a playthrough, as long as that part one appealed to you, you were probably going to want to be there till the end, even if it took weeks to get through it. You know what I mean? And now I just don't feel like it's like that anymore. I think the world has moved towards instant gratification, one quick meme, one quick laugh, on to the next, don't care about it anymore. I don't know about society as a whole if that's really where we've gone, you know? I do feel like there is a place for a game like Blueprints, and that is in the hands of gamers who have time and dedication to play it, not really with streamers. You know what I mean? So we'll talk about that in a sec because we really got to come to a determination. I'd love to hear feedback on this, all right? But before we get to that, I have a couple of shout outs to do here in regards to contributions and questions and the like. Let's do those first. Then I think we'll jump into talking about Blueprints. We'll probably look at some of this Witcher gameplay. Then we'll probably start talking about the steering wheel for the PC and all of that. So it's going to be a chunky show today. We have a lot of topics to discuss for once. Jasper's 8 years old now. He's no longer Jasper Kitty. He's Jasper Middle Age. You do realize that a kitty cat is not a kitten. Kitty cat is the name of a casual name for a cat, while kitten is a child. I'm not calling him Jasper Kitten. I'm calling him Jasper Kitty Cat. Get it? Okay, thanks for the tips. Mozzie, our first super chatter of the day. So Mozzie with a $5 super chat says, curious if you have any kind of a backup plan if the Switch doesn't show up on Thursday at an early enough time. Sorry if you covered this. So here's the deal. Thursday is my big, I guess, hold on. Let me get Mozzie on the leaderboard, and then we'll do the big promo. Thursday, June 5th is DSP's Rainbow Road Rush event, a day-long marathon celebrating the release of the Switch 2, unboxing it, checking it out, then testing out a whole bunch of accessories that I purchased for it live, then hooking it up and getting it online, getting Mario Kart World, and then playing it all day long with the goal, ultimately, of by the end of this marathon day, unlocking Rainbow Road and checking out all of the basic courses of the game. Is it viable? That's a good question, because there's a couple factors involved. Factor number one, just how drunk am I going to get during this event, and how am I going to drive if I'm drunk? That is a factor. Factor number two, how long is the unlock time for Rainbow Road? With Mario Kart World now being a completely different formula, meaning that there's supposed to be an open world now, does the game actually force you to drive around this open world map aimlessly to unlock content, or can you just go from race to race and keep playing stages so that you can actually make progress? How much padding is there driving around the map, or can you just get through the circuits quickly like you used to be able to? No one knows yet because the game's not out. And then question number three, and this is the one that Mozzie is addressing. When is the Switch coming? Okay? And the truth is, no one knows. All right? No one. Okay? That you cannot really get any answers about when it's coming. It's all guaranteed June 5th. Guaranteed. Okay, guaranteed delivery June 5th is great. But when? Right? Via what service? At what time? When will it ship? You know, because the thing is, I live in a private community. All right, for good reason. Thank God I live in a private community. One of the best choices I've ever made in my life was moving to a private community 11 years ago. Thank God I made that decision. For as much as people gave me crap for it back then, every single day of my life, I'm like, best decision ever, right? So, living in the private community, you know, some places have access, some don't. You know, there's places that regularly ship to us that have easy access and others don't. Like, for example, if there's a special courier or delivery service as opposed to a more common one, they're not going to know how to get in. And so if you don't know how it's shipping, you don't know if it's going to be guaranteed that they'll even know what they're doing. Okay, case in point, yesterday, I thought I had provided all the information needed for someone to deliver something to my home. They still didn't do it. They drove here, said, oh, there's a gate, and they left. Even though I provided all the information of how to get into my community in the notes for the delivery, they just ignored them because they're basically a fucking idiot. Now, I'm sorry to say that, but a lot of these delivery people, they're not actually full-time employees. They're more gig workers. They don't really care. They're just rushing around trying to do a whole bunch of stuff in one day, and they don't give a crap. So they don't go the extra mile. They don't treat it like, oh, this is serious. I need to get this there. Instead, it's like, oh, well, there's a slight hindrance in my way. I'll throw it to the back of my car, and maybe I'll deal with it, and maybe I won't. And that's what's happened with a lot of these things. So I have to hope, I do have to hope that in this case, we have a situation where whatever is going on with the Switch 2, how it's getting delivered, it's going to be via one of these, standard delivery methods that they already know how to have access to my community, and it's not going to be a big deal. But I don't know. And then in addition to that, which we've already talked about, we don't even know when it's coming anyway. It could come in the morning. It could come in the afternoon. Hell, it could come at the end of the day, right? So that's what sucks, when you don't have a set thing. And there's nothing I can do about that. Like, there's literally no way I could have had it set that it's guaranteed to show up. It didn't happen. That wasn't available. So, all that being said, what we're going to do is start up at our usual time. We're going to hang out. We're going to have a good time. We'll have a podcast. We'll check out some of these accessories. Maybe I'll unbox some of them. We'll see what they look like and laugh at them if they look like junk, stuff like that. Again, just like any marathon, if support comes in, I'll be taking shots and stuff. We're going to have a good time with each other and each other's company. If we get through, let's say the entire, how do I say it? If we get through the entire podcast and everything and nothing's here, we have no updates on when it's showing up, then we'll probably just do something else to kill some time. I don't know if you want to mess around with the old Switch. You want to do some online gameplay of something. I don't know. We're just going to have a good time together until this thing shows up. What else can I do? I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to worry about it because there's nothing I can do to control the situation. You understand? Like, me sitting here and be, oh my God, what's the point? We'll just have a good time. We'll hang out. We'll enjoy each other's company. No matter what we do, it's going to be interesting and fun. We like hanging out. And then when it shows up, right? Because it will be here. It's just a matter of when. All right. So there you go. Hello, Jasper. How are you? Jasper coming out of nowhere. How's it going, buddy? You really wanted to be on camera, huh? Well, there you go. What's up, Game Boy? How you doing? What's going on, Habib? How are you? So, Mozzie, I hope that kind of explains. If you want to have a cool time with me, come on by on Thursday. We may have the Switch right away. We may not have it all day. Who knows? Like I said, let's say worst case scenario, the Switch doesn't show up till really late. We'll still unbox it. We'll still test some accessories. We'll still hook it up. We'll still play some Mario Kart. But obviously, if that's the case, there's no way I'm going to be getting to the Rainbow Road, right? We'll just enjoy it for as long as I can, and we'll play more of it the next day. Now, we do have Summer Game Fest the next day, but I'll play it before. Maybe I'll play it that night stream. We'll still have a good time with it, okay? What are you jumping for? You saw you went jumped? What's he doing? Okay. All right, so I received a $6.33 tip. Biggest tip of the day so far. Let's get a nice animation on the screen for that one. Thank you so much for that. And this person's going to give us some heads ups in regards to Claire Obscured today, which I appreciate. So here we go. They said, hey, DSP, I'm not sure what the plan is, but I am hoping for good support for Claire Obscured today. Me too. I really do hope that we get support for the stream today. My opinion is play through the story until you get Esquilla's flying ability. After that, tons of super challenging bosses will open up that are way tougher than the final boss. And just FYI, Act 3 is short, but probably not as short as you're expecting. What I've been told is that after the dungeon I'm in, there's basically like 3 more story dungeons. But as we know, the dungeons aren't super long in this game. So, that makes sense. That would probably be like another 2 main streams, right? To be if I just did the story. But I don't know if I'm just going to do the story or if I am going to play further than that. I mean, I do want to. I love the game. I would love to take on super bosses and optional dungeons. I just don't know how viable that's going to be, considering the fact that it's very hard to get any audience for this game at this point, right? Okay. So thank you for the support. Thank you for the heads up. All right. Let's talk about. Oh, hold on one second. Pausin has re-upped their membership for 40 months. Thank you, Pausin. And they said, the waiting game for the Switch 2 is horrible. Here's hoping that it'll show up soon. Thank you. Since sadly I didn't get in on the day one pre-orders, and we all know why, that's probably why I had zero chance of getting it early, right? Like some people said, oh, we already got ours. Well, yeah, but you guys had the day one pre-orders, the very first batch, which I very well should have had, except for we all know what happened. So what can you do, right? Nothing I can do about that. Just got to roll with it. So, Zayas MD with $1 super chat. Thank you to Zayas for $1. Thanks for the support. Actually, it's Zayas, isn't it? It's Dr. Zayas, MD. There you go. Dr. Zayas. Okay. All right. So, guys, let's do it. Let's talk about blueprints. Okay. So, folks, let's talk about blueprints. All right. So, 2 months ago, unbeknownst to me, a game was going to release that I knew nothing about, but that everyone was going to yell at me to try. And I was like, oh, okay, that sounds good to me. Let's see what this is. It was on Game Pass, so there was no investment there. If I played it and didn't like it, or if I played it, it didn't work with the audience, then it wasn't a big deal. But unbeknownst to me, I would be jumping into a crazy long, very involved, multifaceted puzzle game, the likes of which I've never played before. Okay? On paper, Blueprints is as follows. You enter a mansion of which the rooms are randomly generated. Each time you enter a room, you get a choice to enter 3 more rooms. You pick which one you want, and each room has something different in it. A puzzle, a store, some items. You never know. And the more that you play this game, it's like peeling away an onion, right? On the outside, an onion looks like one big juicy hole. But as you start to peel off the layers, you realize, dang, this thing is like a million layers to it, and they all are involved and connected. At first, you think that the goal of Blueprints is to unlock the super secret 46th hidden room. But then as you play further, you realize there's much more going on in this game than just that. There's an ongoing air of a mystery. What is really going on? There's a political drama. There's crime, and in some cases even like attempted murder. There's crazy stuff going on in this story. Like, if you ever saw the movie Knives Out and you saw how crazy that movie was, that's pretty much this game once you get to that level. But very much this game, you could never get to that level. Just play it at face value, get to room 46 and call it a day and say you beat it because the credits roll. But man, there's just way, way more to it than that, okay? There's, secrets hidden under the mansion. There's hidden rooms that aren't even in the mansion. There's all kinds of crazy stuff. Without massively spoiling, it's crazy because there's so much to it that you could essentially play this game for 100 hours. And as long as you're not lucky, you might not find everything yet. There's people who've actually said they've played Blueprints for over 100 hours and still haven't solved everything, which is crazy to think, right? Now, from what I'm going to understand, there is a definitive ending at some point, but it takes a very long time to get. And here's the catch with Blueprints. It's RNG. All right. So now, when we're talking about that, RNG, random number generator, what does it really mean? It means that much like any rogue-like game, you have a limited time to do a run. There's confines in which you can do that run, meaning there's a limited amount of footsteps that you can walk through the mansion each day. And when you run out of those footsteps, the day resets and you have to start completely over. The rooms are randomly generated, meaning there is a big grouping of rooms, way more than 45 rooms in the game, and you never know which rooms you're going to get the option to draw. Now, there are ways to change that. For example, there's ways to increase the chances of certain rooms over others. If you're on the west side or east side of the mansion, you have an increased chance of drawing other rooms. You see what I mean? There's ways to kind of influence it. But in reality, there's no way to 100% control it. And for a lot of people, that might actually be the reason why you end up not liking Blueprints. In fact, that's what happened with my wife. She played it and was enjoying it until she got to the point where she was like, wait, so I just can't control everything? No. She's like, well, then why do I want to play this if I'm going to end up playing it for like an hour and nothing may happen that helps? Like there may be no permanent unlocks, no permanent changes, nothing learned. And I feel like I just wasted an hour. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of the nature of roguelike games. Sometimes you have an amazing run where monstrous advancement happens, and other times it just really was a frivolous, wasted time. And she was like, I'm not going to do that, you know? So for some people, it works, and some people it doesn't, these roguelikes, right? For me, personally, I really enjoyed Blueprints. Every single time that we have played this game, there seems to have been some big progress and big advancement, either in the plot or a whole new mystery has been unraveled or a new mystery has been discovered, whatever it may be. Usually we have some kind of good permanent progress every time that I've played. The problem is everything in between, because I'll give you a perfect example. Yesterday, I did 3 hours of Blueprints, 2 runs in the mansion. During that time frame, we arguably didn't see anything of note or anything permanent until the last 20 minutes of my 3 hours of gameplay. And that was just by sheer luck that we actually did get the advancement that we did, because the game decided to give me a room that I had never been in before. And when I went in, oh my goodness, there's a solution to a puzzle that we've been waiting for, and it just happens to be in this new room that we never had a chance to get before now. So there you have it. If you're not in control of what happens in the game, and a lot of it is just randomized, you could have a day where it's an amazingly awesome, fun, productive day in stream, and everyone has a great time on stream, and everyone who likes the game is like, wow, that was awesome. And then you could have an entire session where you're just sitting there with your thumb up your butt, zero progress, bored to tears. And that's the nature of the beast with roguelike games. Perhaps roguelike games are just games that are more intended to be played for yourself than for a streaming audience, okay? Now, I hope you understand why I like Blueprints. I've never played a game like this before, a puzzle roguelike with a unique story, and every time that you get one of these big mysteries solved or a new clue, it's like a eureka moment. You know, the light bulb appears above your head. You're like, ooh, and you get that what is it? Not adrenaline, endorphins or whatever. It's like, oh wow, all my hard work has paid off because now something new has happened and a new development, and now we have a new thing to work toward. And I really, really like it. Okay. But sadly, I just don't know what to do in regards to this game, because I feel like we've reached the point where I've tried everything to make it work, and I don't think it's working anymore. For example, when we first started playing Blueprints, I did it as day streams, okay? But then what happened was, after a few weeks, interest was starting to drop off, and people wanted other things on the day streams because new games were coming out. So I said, all right, this is definitely a game that could fit a late night chill stream slot. Let's move it to the night stream and see how it does. It did horribly. I think it was like 2 straight night streams. The game did not do well. Attendance was down, support was down, everyone was complaining. And on top of that, some people were outright saying, listen, we like the game, but we can only attend your daytime streams because of time zone differences. Therefore, please bring it back to the day streams. So I did, but again, because I was juggling so much, I couldn't play it frequently. So I ended up playing it like once a week, and that's just not enough to make progress in a game like this. So for several weeks, we were barely playing the game, and it was like a trickle of progress every time. So then finally, the last couple of weeks, I've actually played it quite a lot more. I ended up playing it 2 times a week, if not 3, to try to make big progress. At this point, FYI, the playthrough itself has reached 31 parts, but many of these parts are longer than an hour long. Someone did the math last week before the last stream and said that the playthrough was already at like 42 hours. So actually, as of now, we must be at 45 hours of this game. Okay? But yesterday was basically, how can I say, the day where I was like, I guess this is how it's going to be. All right? So on YouTube, we didn't even have 200 viewers. I think on YouTube we had like 140, 50 viewers. On Kick, we only had around 50, if not less than that. Okay. That was for the whole stream. I'm not saying, oh, that was like the beginning. That was the whole stream. Okay. Support, abysmal. Like $40, if that. I don't even think we hit $40. And the other problem with it is like sometimes you'll say, okay, sometimes streams are for a smaller audience. Like I said, we had 5 or 10 people who were paying attention. That was it. Everyone else was, oh, why is he still playing this? And it's like, well, guys, I invested so much time in this. You got to understand that, like, when you invest that much into something, you want to at least see it through. Just on the merits of, hey, I spent so much time, I want to see how this thing ends, right? But it seems like the audience ain't with me. And I don't know what to do to get the audience back, because it's very possible that either people played it for themselves or they went and watched someone else play it as I was trying to juggle everything else that I was doing, right? I'll tell you this right now. I would love to continue playing Blueprints, but this is a perfect example of why people say things to me such as, hey, Phil, you would just do much better if you just played whatever you liked. Stop worrying about everything around you and just play whatever you like. And then, the views and the engagement and the support will come. It's just not true. It's just not, I have to try to find a way to entertain an audience. And sometimes it's viable and sometimes it's not. Blueprints was entertaining for the first couple of weeks. And then I think a lot of people saw what it was and dropped off. There is an audience for it, but they can't make every stream. It's funny because sometimes when I play Blueprints, we get bigger engagement and support because those certain people can make it. But then some streams they can't, and you can't blame them. That's not their fault. Not everyone can be at every single stream for a game. I get that. It just doesn't have enough of an audience. Do you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me 1,000,000% of that game that I played years ago. That was a puzzle game. Does anyone remember what it was called? It had lasers. We had to line up lasers for bouncing it through mazes. And it was about it was supposed to be like this existential game where there's robots and they're controlled by AI. And the question is it really people or is it AI? Are these things really alive or not? What's the meaning of life and stuff like that? I can't remember what it was called. I'm sure someone's going to say it in chat because they always do. This was a puzzle game that I played a very long time ago. Like maybe yes, that's it. Talos Principle. That was it. The Talos Principle. That game was great. The first few streams that I did of it. And then probably around 20, 30 hours in, people fell off and we stopped playing it because people were yelling at me to stop playing it. They were bored. So I said, okay, we got to move on. It's just that simple that longer games are very hard to retain an audience that can show up and engage and support with the rest of the playthrough. And there's not much I can really do about that. Okay? What can I say? It is what it is. What do we do about Blueprints? I would love to keep playing it. Really, I would. But I can't keep playing it for 10 people. And I can't keep playing it if people will not show up and engage and support the streams. I can't have it that every time I play Blueprints, we have a dead stream where everyone complains they're bored and I make $30. Especially when people are yelling at me to play other things. Phil, will you play this game? Did you hear about this game? What about this game? Why aren't you playing more of this game? I'm waiting. When are you going back to this game? And it's like, I like being in demand. I love it. I would much rather be in demand than be not in demand. You get it? The problem is, so many people want me to do so much that whenever I invest a lot of time into something, it seems like it ends up being a waste. Like with Blueprints, this was a game originally I was never going to play. I didn't even know it existed. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what I was getting into, quite frankly, when I started playing it. And then when I started investing more and more and I started liking it more, it seemed like it exponentially gave the opposite effect to the viewing audience. The more I liked it and wanted to play it, more people yelled at me and said, this game sucks. Why are you still playing it? I can't believe you're still streaming Blueprints. And it's like, well, because you told me to play it and I got hooked on it. You know what I'm saying? So I just don't know what to do. I don't want this to be every single time that I play a game and we don't hit a support goal. That immediately means that the game is off the table and we're never playing it ever again. I'm well aware that there's probably content creators out there that's how they treat everything. But I want to be able to enjoy games and understand that there may be a few times when I play a game that it's not going to be able to be well supported or well engaged. You might have a dead stream. Okay. But I also just can't have one game be the game that no one cares about. Understand? So I guess we got to figure this out. So what do we do? Doku says, what about a 3-strike rule? Exactly. This is what we got to start talking about. Do we give it a chance and then do a second stream? And if the second stream has fallen off, then we say, all right, forget it. In a game like Blueprints, I do feel like we're near the end. You know, there's 8 doors behind which there's 8 puzzles. And I guess once you solve all 8 of those, that's nearing the end. And then it's like the final thing, and that's the end of the game. So we're there. We've already opened 4 of the 8 doors. Okay, we know where the other 3 keys are. It's just a matter of RNG. And I mean that. It's literally a matter of RNG. I could boot up Blueprints right now and immediately get one of the keys if the game gives me the room to do it. But if it doesn't, there's nothing I can do. You know what I mean? Like, I can't get it if they don't give it to me. So, you know, it's kind of a bummer, but that's just the situation that I'm in. I'm at the mercy of the game. So, do we put it into the schedule again? Or do we just say, we're done with it? I would love feedback. And it may be that we don't get an answer right now, but we get an answer over the course of the week. I would love to hear your thoughts on this because I just don't have an answer. You know what I mean? Like, realistically, I don't know how to handle it. At this point, I'm curious what your thoughts are because mine are, I want to keep playing it, but I need to do things that you guys want, right? I can't just do what I want because it's not working. So it is what it is. What do you guys think? The Militia Daddy says do a poll. I don't think that a poll is really going to solve it. FF9000 says many games are about RNG. If it were Pokemon, you got to keep going for encounters until the desired Pokemon shows up. You're complaining about a core aspect of video games. I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining. I want you to understand something. I'm not criticizing or complaining about Blueprints. I love Blueprints. I think it's fine. Some people don't like that aspect. I actually really like it. Okay? Really. Ellipsian says, the sigil doors aren't really required for the true ending. I do have the steps required written out for my playthrough. So what the hell is the real ending? Because the game makes it seem like that's the true ending. I mean, when you get to room 46, it says, hey, guess what? You're not done because there's these other doors and other keys you need to find. So then what is the real ending? Good Lord. How about this? All right. Let's do it this way. Because you know what? This person actually had made a good point now. They said, this is basically becoming a sunken cost fallacy. I mean, you're right. When you invest a certain amount of time into a playthrough or a game, you expect that you want to see it to the end, right? Can you imagine investing over 40 hours? I think we're around 45 hours into Blueprints and it's be like, we're just dropping it now. You know, it's pretty bad. You know, it's people who are going to watch it eventually and get to the end of the playthrough and be like, what, he just dropped it? And I'm with you. I'd be pissed too, but what do you do? So here's what I want to do. All right. I want to do one more stream of Blueprints. And I will announce it far ahead of time. It's going to be next week. I'll announce it ahead of time so everyone is well aware of when it is, you know. And people who like Blueprints, I'm going to make a call to you to show up for it. All right? Do what you can. And I understand if you can't, but I'm going to say, hey, we're doing a big Blueprint stream. I want to make progress. I'm going to need help with this. Not only am I saying, oh, show up and, of course, financially support the stream, but I'm saying engage with the stream. If there's something that I've literally missed 100 times, let me know so I can find it and make progress. I can't just keep going by and not doing things and not making progress. I need to finish the game. I want to see it through. But if it really is RNG, then I don't know how long it's going to take. You know, I need people to be there for it. So if I do one more stream of Blueprints and this game gets no one showing up, no one's engaging and helping me with it, and no one supports the stream, then I'm sorry, that's going to be the end of it. And I'll announce it formally during that video or whatever too. So those who are watching it on demand will know. But I really don't want to drop it. Like, I'm trying to be as forthcoming with my feelings as I can. I love Blueprints. I really enjoy the streams. They're chill, they're interactive, they're fun. Every time that there's a new story development, it's like a eureka moment. I really enjoy that feeling. I want to see it through, but I can't play this game for 100 hours No one's going to stick around for that long. Already 45 hours in, we've got people who have fallen off and don't care about it. Every time I stream it, people yell at me, why am I wasting my time? It's a very frustrating endeavor. Okay? It is. So let's see what happens. Let's do one more stream of Blueprints next week as a day stream. So that way, those who can make it can make it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, then we say, well, we gave it a try. I formally made it known that this was going to happen, right? Let's see how it goes next time. Okay? You know, with Clear Obscure, it was easy to make a decision. Let's just focus on the story for now and see how it goes, right? That was very simple to figure out because of the nature of the game. You could just get through the story and say, that's what we're going to do. With Blueprints, I can't even tell you. How do we say, oh, we're just going to focus on the story? No, that's what I'm doing. You don't even know what you're going to find because it's RNG. You have no clue at any given moment what's going to happen and what you're going to discover. So I can't even make a commitment to, oh, we'll just focus on this or this. I won't even know. You know what I mean? So one more stream next week. Let's see how it goes. I'm personally hoping that it goes well, that people show up, engage, and support with this stream. I really hope so. If not, well, I don't think anyone is going to blame me and be like, well, you didn't give it a chance. I mean, absolutely. I've given it every chance at this point, right? That's that. Now we know one more stream to determine the future of Blueprints. If it's a thumbs up, we continue. If it's a thumbs down, we drop it. Let's see what happens next week. Fair enough? All right. I gave it a chance. All right. I want to take a look at this Witcher 4 trailer or gameplay or whatever. It's 14 minutes long. I doubt we're going to get through 14 minutes. I also didn't hit play it itself. I doubt we're going to get through all 14 minutes, but I'm very curious about what this is. Okay. So this is supposed to be 4K Witcher 4. Ready? Let's watch it. Here we go. Oh, by the way, supposedly this is on a base PlayStation 4. I want to explain it. Excuse me, base PlayStation 5, not PlayStation 4. They're claiming this is a tech demo of gameplay of Witcher 4 on a base PS5. Color me skeptical.
Sleep, is he? The ploughing plonker. Break me pearlies on this blasted pit-ridden tract.
Lost his lucky coin.
With fear on dry road. Aye, the devil's out there! Just running from!
What's with the shaky cam? It's annoying. I will say this, at least they used a good frame rate. It is, I believe, 60 frames, which is good, but I wish it wasn't shaky cam. I don't know why they did it like that. Why did this monster just randomly attack his carriage? Ouch.
Salt. Almost had me fooled, Fruin.
I do find it funny people are complaining about her appearance, saying she doesn't look like Ciri from Witcher 3. Like, yeah, Witcher 3 was like 10 years ago. Of course the model's gonna change, right? Like, they're not gonna use the same model.
Thank you.
Okay, let's get to the actual. I don't see them gabbing like idiots. Here we go. Okay.
The region we are in is called Kovir, and you'll get to explore it in a game. Right now, Ciri is investigating a monster, and after gathering new clues, she is heading back to a nearby village. All right, everyone, meet Kelpie.
Let weeds be weeds, Kelpie.
So just like Geralt and Roach, Ciri has her own loyal companion.
We return to town.
These two characters need to feel like one. Since you're gonna explore the world on horseback, riding needs to feel seamless, natural, and just fun.
Yeah, and to support that, we're introducing multi-character motion matching in Unreal. So Ciri and Kelpie, they're perfectly synchronized when mounting from any angle and speed. And we also support root motion movement.
Yeah, right. Day one, there's going to be video compilations. Look, they're perfectly synchronized. She goes to get on the horse. She flies into the sky and fucking glitches out the ass. I love when they're going to kiss this game's butt so early in development, just so that this is all going to come back to bite them. I guarantee you, this is all going to come back to bite them so bad because they're showing it now and they're basically trying to fluff up their game. And I mean, the graphics are gorgeous, right? But why would you even do this right now? Why would you be like, oh yeah, these two characters will be seamless? Why say that? Why set yourself up for disaster? I don't know, man.
On Kelpie. So controlling her feels realistic and grounded. And there are also some really nice improvements to our Unreal Chaos Flesh Solver and these machine-learned deformations. So you've got realistic muscles moving and stretching under Kelpie's skin without compromising the performance there.
I have to show it? Oh my god. Look at this, bro. Look at the muscles.
So let's leave Ciri behind for a second and talk about the world itself. So much of the Witcher world is natural, organic, especially Kovir with its dense forest and wild nature.
Yeah, and wild nature is hard. And with nanite geometry, we've freed artists from so many of their old constraints. But we don't want to rest until everything we do in Unreal has that same spirit of freedom. There's always more work to do. And foliage is a huge piece of that puzzle. So we are excited to introduce nanite foliage.
Ah, gee, that hurts my eyes.
In order to achieve gorgeous foliage density everywhere, while still being memory efficient, fast to render, we believe that a new idea was needed. So instead of the same card approach we've been using for the past 20 years, artists should be free to take a nanite approach to foliage, modeling every single leaf and pine needle. And the old LOD tricks of the past, they needed a complete rethink. And in their place, it's a new adaptive voxel representation in nanite.
So it's
volumetric,
Minecraft.
fully 3D, it is super fast to render. And these dense clusters of triangles turn into these cubes, which at a distance, they're no larger than a pixel, and they react to the changing light of our dynamic sun and our shadows, and they allow artists to render whatever amount of foliage is needed to achieve their vision without compromise.
And no compromise.
So what they're basically saying is, instead of making these incredibly detailed models, everything's based on those blocks, but then they can fill in the blanks when you're up close. So they have the models to pop in to replace the blocks when you're up close to see it, but then when they zoom out, these trees are actually the blocks, but the eye can't see it from that far, so it looks like the full tree. It's like a kind of like it fools the mind, right? Okay.
This means how ambitious we are when it comes to bringing our vision to life with incredible visuals. But more than that, together with Epic, we created faster way to load the world. We can now bring in more content more quickly for the smoothest possible experience as we fly down to catch up with Ciri.
And all this is on a base PS5. Of course it is.
Welcome to Valdrest. So Valdrest is a port town, a hub for fishing, trade, and mining. It's one of those places where you can meet shady characters or overhear gossip from other lands. It's also where Ciri took on her current contract. High-tech, let's leave Kelpie here and explore the marketplace and food.
And the missus?
I'm so excited we can finally show you some of this stuff. Let's see what Valdres has to offer.
Not her again.
Oh, spits on her. Oh, nice guy.
The land Exeter bear. Now, 9 gazes I present him with a fish. For the furry rascal will often wink, and the bear's weight grants good fortune.
I think no one was afraid of the bear. He just stood there, perfectly stoic and still.
Pardon.
Guys, notice how responsive the world is.
He's not
Character
playing it, dude.
actions
Get the fuck.
directly
No,
after-
fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. You're not playing it. We just saw that it zoomed out and did a tech demo. You can't control that with a PS5 controller. You're not really playing the game. The fucking camera is panning in front of her. How could you be walking seamlessly forward on the PS5 controller? Fuck you. Why are you such a disingenuous liar? It's like we're back to E3 of like 2000 when they used to do this shit all the time. Stop. Stop lying. You did this with Cyberpunk and it fucking bit you so hard in the ass. Why are you lying again? Just be real with the people and then they won't fucking be pissed at you when the game comes out and they've been overpromised and underdelivered for the millionth time. So you're not playing the game. We know you're not.
What happens around you. Sometimes even setting off chain reactions. Everything is working together.
Look, he's moving the thumbstick, yet nothing's happening on the screen. Yeah, he's really playing.
Oh, look at this poor gentleman being taught how to fly by an angry innkeeper. That's what happens when you cheat at Gwent.
Last of it, is it? Ready to wait.
Silver, round ones, what jingle in the purse.
Okay, so this is the guy who gave the series of quests his own. Like you probably suspect, he has his own agenda in all of this.
You off your tits again, Wilfred. Get your ass up.
A typical day's toil.
Who in? With Churess. What news of my wagons? No eternity is taking that damn salt to arrive.
I found them. And, well, suffice to say, they'll not reach you. As for the salt, I found not one speck. I presume this comes as no surprise to you. Now. Kavir's smuggling trade is of no concern to me.
Shush, shush, shush.
The manticore that flattened your cart and devoured your men? Quite the opposite.
Manticore? No, them winged hellspawn dwell in the arse end of Creighton, not here.
While
Where's the camera
Siri
going?
decides what to do about that merchant, let's take a look at the character technology that powers this marketplace.
All right,
Why don't we listen in?
watching this, doesn't this just make you wish that they had just made this instead of Cyberpunk? Like that we had a whole like 10 years wasted because they had to make Cyberpunk 2077. It was just like a waste of time. Like this, just looking at this base value looks so much better. It's just a more interesting, engaging world. You don't know what monster series is going to face. You don't know what cool lore is going to be in this game. It's so much better. I don't want to play fucking Cyberpunk. What a waste of time that was. I just feel like we could have had this so much sooner if they had just stopped dicking around. Anyway.
On these fishmongers, they're selling their wares, chatting up customers.
Morning, catch this is. Won't find none fresher.
Rugged me ladies after one of them.
Course. Get this cleaned and gutted for you. You mind, dearest? Interesting, something more. Got mackerel, cod, all Braxton's finest.
And there is tons of tech at play here, even in this simple market stall. Metahuman tools, improved Unreal smart objects, chaos cloth, and more.
Yeah, and all of this exists to make sure that the gap in quality between Siri and NPCs is as small as possible.
Yeah, and closing that gap, it's not just about fidelity, right, but also authenticity. They should react to changes in the world around them.
But the prisoner in Pillory isn't exciting enough for Valdres. Let's grab everyone's attention with a circus.
See, here's the problem with what they're saying, though. Like, I understand what they're saying. Oh, look, there's going to look like there's real town interactions. I mean, I believe there will be. But the question is, how many will there be? Like 2? So the first time you come to the town, you'll see that guy haggling for fish. The second time, they'll be playing music. And then when you come back, the guy will be haggling for fish again. It's the same thing. They're not going to, they have 700 different things. How much work do you think they're going to put into the NPC of the town you're going to see twice during the whole game? You know? So I get it. I appreciate the attention to detail, but I don't think it's a big deal. I actually think that the way that they're rendering the forest is more interesting than what they're showing right now.
But the great performance deserves a huge crowd though. Let's crank it up.
So you are seeing tons of optimizations here.
By the way, he's doing all this on a standard PS5 controller. He's playing the game right now, folks. It's real. No, it's real. I'm telling you. Totally not a tech demo that they've pre-rendered.
Unreal systems, including an entirely new Unreal animation framework, allowing us to fit easily in our 60 FPS budget, not just in rendering, but also with room to spare on the game thread. Over 300 animated skeletal mesh agents all going about their business. And the whole point is to leave breathing room for developers like you to introduce the gameplay and the systems that your players expect, empowering you to make your worlds come to life without Unreal standing in your way.
You are right. That's the open world RPG that we're making. But before we wrap up, how about one final check-in with Siri?
This looks great. Like, I'm very excited for this.
The most
It looks good.
immersive and ambitious open world Witcher game ever. And we are making this a reality thanks to our work on Unreal with the team at Epic. I think what we're doing together is going to bring in a new generation of open world RPGs, and I'm so proud of what we accomplished so far.
We are too.
So we're almost done, but before we go, here's a small gift for all Witcher fans.
All right, let's see. Small gift.
A first look at Lanexeter.
Huge.
Onward, Kelby. We've worked.
So does she have Geralt's swords? Are those his swords? Or does she have her own pair of swords, I wonder?
Thanks, guys.
All right. So, I mean, in a nutshell, it looks great, right? It looks gorgeous. I don't know why they had to lie and pretend like he was playing it. He wasn't. That's complete nonsense. That's just so silly. But it looks good. It does. I don't think that's going to run like that on PS5 at all. I don't believe that. Maybe PS5 Pro. I don't think it will look like that on base PS5. I think they're full of it. But I like the idea that they're using new tech to render things. I like that idea that they can, you know, like they said, the blocks, when they zoom out, it looks different. And you can't tell because your eye can't see that far. But then when it zooms in, the detail loads and it kind of makes it look better. The lighting looked amazing. The character models looked great. I'm excited. I wish that this had come out instead of Cyberpunk. I wanted to play this, not Cyberpunk. I'm angry that we had to wait 10 years for this. Actually, more than 10 years by the time it comes out, right? Because didn't Witcher was 2015 or was it 2016? Like, we have to wait so long for this game for no really good reason. But I'm excited for it. Okay, I am. Like, I think it's going to be a great game, and I love fantasy style instead of the stupid cyberpunk futuristic nonsense. And that looks good to me. You know, now let's get some information about it, right? Let's get some actual concrete information about, you know, when we can expect it'll come out and stuff like that, hopefully. So, guys, we got about 15, 20 minutes left. Originally, my idea was that we were going to look for PC steering wheels and pedals today. Sadly, I just don't think we have enough time. Let's do it tomorrow, because tomorrow actually is the final real podcast of the week, if you're not aware. Tomorrow we're doing a real podcast, but then Thursday we're really not, because that's going to be my Switch 2 marathon. And then Friday we're not doing a podcast. We're just doing gameplay, so we could do gameplay before Summer Game Fest. So I guess tomorrow will be the day when we will jump onto the internet and look for wheels and pedals and things like that and go from there. Battledeck says G27 is the golden standard. It's Logitech. Well, I don't know. Again, price-wise, I talked about this just to give you a little preview. I was looking to spend maybe around $200. All right. I said that if we had gotten like excess support last night, I would spend every dollar I made on support on it. But we didn't, we didn't get like a double goal or anything. So we'll see what's available tomorrow on the podcast. My ruin, I'm aware that PlayStation's doing a state of play tomorrow. I don't care. It's only 45 minutes and they're only going to showcase a few games. We can talk about that later in the week. I'm not going to change my schedule tomorrow because Sony decided to drop a state of play the day before. Screw that. I don't care. Let us chill a little bit. Let's see what you guys want to talk about. Tag me in the chat. Any further contributions, greatly appreciated. Obviously, let's hit the goal today, right? Not only for Player Obscure, but for the podcast as well. Thanks to those who did early support. I appreciate you. What would you guys like to talk about today? Let's see here. Yes, I played Final Fantasy Tactics before. I've already said that about 100 times on stream. I love that game. Yak Almighty says, sadly, they don't sell the G27 anymore. He'd have to get the G29. How much is the G29? Because someone told me it was over $300, and I'm not spending that. AI Camus, if you're just going to sit there and be a toxic individual on Kick, I at least expect you to drop a few subs. You've been toxic the entire podcast, just spouting nonsense out of your butthole of a mouth. Drop a sub. Maybe I'll let you continue. Anyway. It is. See, it's $300. I knew it. Sidious, listen. Sidious says, why do you not recognize CD Projekt Red fixed Cyberpunk and all the negative reviews became positive? The company redeemed itself. It didn't redeem itself in my eyes. What they did is they fixed technical issues with the game. That's it. The game itself still wasn't good. The plot was not that good. There was like 2 side quests I actually really enjoyed. And outside of that, most of the plot I did not enjoy. I hated the world. I thought that the world was probably disgusting and just boring as shit. Like I said, the first time you see a billboard of like a robot dildo, you laugh. You're like, wow, they really are an over-sexualized, over-commercialized society. But then when you realize the entire world is a one-trick pony, like that's it, that's all they have. Like compare the world of Cyberpunk to the world of Witcher. I mean that too. Like the world of Witcher is based on lore from a book series. It's got meat. It's got depth. It's actually interesting. The world of Cyberpunk is boring as fuck. It's like a one joke thing. And then after that, you're like, what the hell? Like, no, really? Everything is over-sexualized. Everything is over-commercialized. Everything is cybernetic. It's boring. That's what I don't like about the game. I didn't like the plot. I thought it was super boring. And the gameplay elements were just rehashed from other games. I didn't care about, oh, look, there's a zillion technical bugs that everyone complained about at launch. That wasn't the reason I didn't like the game. So unless they've completely changed the game from the ground up, and it's a different universe, and it's different gameplay mechanics from the beginning, then I'm not going to like it. Did they really do that? Of course they didn't. What they did is they went back, they fixed all these ridiculous bugs and shortcomings that their game had, but it's the same exact thing. It's boring. I don't like it. I literally, I've said this. When I played Cyberpunk 2077, my problem was I was only having fun about 20% of the time. 80% of the time, I was bored to tears and didn't like it. So why would I like it now? It's the same game. You know? It's the equivalent of, let's say, Street Fighter 6 came out, okay? And it had a poor frame rate, and it was crashing, and there was glitches in the environment, and the gameplay was broken, okay? So they fixed it, so now it looks nice, but it still plays in a game mechanic that you don't like. Like, what if you don't like the drive rushing? What if you don't like drive impact? What if you don't like the fact that every character has a giant combo that pushes you to the corner and now it's a 50-50 guessing game? Well, if you don't like any of that, you're still not going to like Street Fighter 6, even if they fix all the technical bugs. It's the same game. See? They're not going to redesign the game from the ground up. They didn't do that. So then why on earth would I like Cyberpunk even after they fixed the game? Yeah, Yak Almighty says, I would love a Cyberpunk 2077 run on PC with everything maxed out, but I understand if you don't like it. I just don't like it. That's it. Like, when I was playing it, and even when it was working fine, I was like, man, this is boring. Look, it's kind of like a combination of Borderlands with Deus Ex. That's exactly what it felt like. And I was like, I would much rather go play Borderlands or Deus Ex than this game. Nothing in this game is original. Every concept is lifted from someone else. Nothing is even executed very well. It's all kind of like mid, and it gets boring like a few hours in. Like I said, there were a few interesting plots. The entire time you're working with that detective and he's doing those cases and you're trying to hunt down like that murderer and stuff, that's pretty interesting. Okay. And also there's the whole plot line with the politician who apparently has been mind controlled and has people living in his walls spying on him. That's super riveting. Like, some of the writing in the game is actually quite good. But then when you get back to the core gameplay mechanics, they're just very, very mid. There's nothing really exciting about the game at all when it comes to the actual game. It's like, oh, if you like the lore, you like the universe, you get sucked up in it, you probably love it. I didn't. I thought it sucked. So that's why I didn't like the game. And everyone disagreed with me. I'm like, well, listen, I'm entitled to my opinion. If I don't like the world, I don't like the world. And I don't. I think the world is boring. Yakko Mighty says it was the way that I played, because if I played as hacker class, there would have been unique elements I would have liked more. I mean, you're very well maybe correct, but that is the problem when you make a game like this, where basically you can play it different ways. If there's one style of playing it that makes it interesting, then that should just be the style to play it. It shouldn't be, oh, you can play it like that or this or this. Just make the interesting style the game. And then maybe more people would, I would have liked it. I don't know. Maybe I just had bad luck with how I selected to play it or whatever, but I just recall being so bored. Just bored to tears. Everything was just executed just well enough to pass, and nothing really stood out to me, so I didn't care. So AI Camus, I'm wondering, where were those subs? Come on, you wanted to sit there be toxic all day, and I let you do it. Where were the subs? Where's your paid tax to do that? Yak says, I agree. I played the game twice. Both times I did hacking because it was so much fun. You can murder everyone in a building without even entering it by hacking the cameras and turrets. That's interesting. Well, here you go. The Dancing Monkey says, that's a narrow way of thinking because it's different strokes for different folks, and having more than one style to play it is better. But you heard what Yak Almighty just said. He literally said, I think the reason you didn't like the game is because you picked a style that's boring. Well, then why is there a boring style? Right? You know what I mean? Like, why put the boring way to play it in there? Instead, just make it interesting. Make it so that the hacking style is the way to play it, you know? Why am I saying base PS5 can't handle it? Because nothing in there said to me base PS5. Nothing. Sorry. I mean, PS5 is a powerful piece of hardware. Don't get me wrong. But when most game devs that are making games for PS5 weren't even having them run at 60 frames at 1080p, it makes me question. So they're showing it at 4K, 60 frames, and all this dynamic shit is happening with the Unreal Engine around me, plus the lighting is absolutely gorgeous. I don't know about that. I would say probably PS5 Pro, definitely PC. I don't know about base PS5. Unless you're like pushing that thing to its absolute limits. Like no lie, that to me would be what The Last of Us 1 was to PS3. That's what Witcher 4 will be to base PS5 if it looks like that. Seriously. Like, no one thought PS3 could pull off what Last of Us 1 did, and it looked so gorgeous on that console, and it was an end-of-life game. Like, that was one of the last major games for PS3. Am I going to use my PS5 Pro again? Of course I am, eventually. You know, this year we've got, what do we got? Ghost of Yote. That's PS5 exclusive, right? There's like 2 or 3 this year, are there not? I want to say there's 2 or 3 games this year that are going to be on PS5 that I'll be playing. Is it? Death Stranding 2 isn't on PC? I didn't even know that. I actually did not even know that. I'm going to play it on PS5, I guess. Okay. What else? What else is going to be on PS5 this year? I don't know. All right, anything else, guys? Anything else to discuss? You want to tag me in chat, or shall we wrap it up and get ready for Claire Obscure? I can't wait to finish Act 2. We're at the end of this dungeon. We're going to wrap this up. Apparently, there's a giant story segment, just to forewarn everyone. I'm being told that basically there's like an hour of story, but then you get to Act 3, and then there's going to be dungeons and things to do. So let's get a good chunk into it. All right, guys. Well, thank you for watching. Good show, but you know, we're out of time. We had more time, I would look for the PC wheel today, but I guess we'll save that for tomorrow. That'll be a segment for tomorrow's show. Makes sense. And thanks for watching. And I'm excited. We're almost there. We're almost to Thursday. All right, we're getting there. And then Thursday we get the big marathon, which I know everyone's going to be very excited for, me as well. And this should be a good one. All right. All right. Thank you guys for a great show. I certainly hope that you'll stick around for Claire Obscure as we head into the end game. But if not, then I'll see you hopefully tonight for some Street Fighter vibes. And of course, tomorrow, where I think we're going to be doing more Night Rain. And thank you guys for a great show. Peace out and see you tomorrow morning.